If you enjoyed this audiobook, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Sharing it with your friends and family helps spread knowledge, and when we help others grow, we grow too. Thank you so much for listening. Let's dive into the book. Chapter 1, The Spark of Thanks. Part 1, A Moment That Changed Everything. Life rarely warns us before it shifts course. One ordinary Tuesday, Alina sat at her kitchen table, staring at a termination letter. Her tech job had vanished overnight, leaving panic creeping in. Bills piled up, confidence shattered. Weeks passed in a blur of rejection emails. Then, on a rainy Thursday, her old neighbor, Mr. Finch, struggling with groceries, slipped near her porch. Elena rushed to help. As she steadied him, he whispered, "You've always been kind, even when life kicks you." His words struck her like lightning. In that soggy, mundane moment, she saw herself not as a failure, but as someone who mattered. Gratitude isn't born in grand victories. It sparks when we're broken. Then notice a hand reaching through the cracks. Elena started small. Each morning she wrote one thing she still had: warm socks, Mr. Finch's smile yesterday, coffee steam rising. At first it felt silly, but when she missed a week, gloom returned like an old habit. So she persisted. Within months, her job hunt felt different. She saw interviews as chances to learn, not just plead for work. When she landed a lower-paying role, she focused on the team's welcome instead of the salary. Scientists find this shift rewires our brains, like strengthening a muscle for spotting hope. What's one struggle you're facing now? Could noting tiny wins alter how you see it? Consider Ben, a nurse exhausted by pandemic shifts. He began texting colleagues one thank you daily. Saw how you calmed Mr. Rivera's family. Thank you. Soon, replies boomeranged back. You noticed? That means everything. His unit's morale lifted, proving gratitude's ripple effect. Or Isha, who journaled 3 good things nightly during chemo. Sunlight on my pillow, daughter's laugh, that nurse who remembered my tea. Her scans didn't change, but her dread did. Studies show such habits cut stress by 28% over 6 weeks. They anchor us in what remains when much is lost. Your turn. Pause here. Recall a time when hardship made you treasure something small, a shared meal, a quiet walk. How did that moment soften the edges of your pain? Now try this. Tomorrow, name 3 ordinary gifts you'd miss if they vanished. A working faucet? Birdsong? The way your friend listens? Write them down. Like Elena, you might find cracks letting in light where none seemed possible. Gratitude grows not from ignoring darkness, but from choosing to strike a match within it. Part 2. Finding light in the ordinary. Finding light in the ordinary. Life's most profound joys often hide in plain sight. This section shows you how to uncover them by training your attention on everyday moments. The steam rising from your coffee, a child's laughter down the street, or sunlight filtering through leaves. You'll learn simple, research-backed techniques to shift from autopilot to active appreciation, transforming routine into richness. By the end, you'll have tools to turn mundane moments into wellsprings of resilience and connection. No grand gestures required. Consider Leo, a graphic designer buried in deadlines. For years, he barely noticed his walk to work until a flat tire forced him to walk slowly. That day, he heard sparrows chirping in a maple tree, a sound he'd missed daily. He started pausing for 30 seconds each morning to name one ordinary detail. Dew on a spider web, the smell of baking bread. Within weeks, his stress headaches eased. Why? By anchoring himself in sensory moments, he interrupted his anxiety spiral. What overlooked sight or sound could you pause for today? Research confirms that noticing small positives rewires our brains to spot them more often. Take Priya, a teacher exhausted by virtual classes. She began jotting down 3 tiny wins each evening. A student's aha expression, the cool side of her pillow, her cat's purr. At first it felt trivial, but after 2 months her journal revealed a pattern. 80% of her entries involved subtle sensory details. This practice, shown to boost dopamine in studies, helped her reframe challenging days. Could you capture one fleeting pleasure tonight? Barriers like distraction or cynicism often block us. Ben, a retired veteran, dismissed gratitude as fluff. Then his therapist suggested a concrete experiment. Each time he washed his hands, he'd feel the water temperature and think, "This keeps me healthy." The physical ritual made it stick. Soon he noticed water's role in brewing tea, watering gardens, even rain. His skepticism faded as he linked these moments to larger well-being. When did a simple physical sensation last make you pause? Integrate this without overhauling your day. Try the Pause Connect method. 1. Pick a daily anchor, e.g., opening a window, waiting for coffee to brew. 2. Engage one sense fully for 15 seconds. Listen to birds, feel the mug's warmth. 3. Ask silently, how does this support or comfort me? Rosa, a single parent, used her nightly dishwashing as an anchor. Feeling soap suds, she'd reflect on water access, something 2 billion lack. This turned a chore into gratitude for infrastructure we ignore. Studies show such micro-mindfulness cuts stress hormones by 23%. By training your focus on humble moments, you build a habit where gratitude becomes reflexive, not forced. The next section explores why this rewires your brain and how to sustain it. Part 3. The science of feeling grateful without the jargon. Consider Rosa's nightly dishwashing ritual. Her simple focus on soap suds rewired her stress response. How? Science shows gratitude isn't just poetic, it physically reshapes your brain. When you notice good things like clean water or a friend's text, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin. These natural chemicals lift mood instantly, like sunlight breaking through clouds. One study tracked hospital workers who wrote 3 good things each day. In 8 weeks, their fatigue dropped 28%, not from caffeine, but from shifted attention. Ever wonder why remembering a compliment warms you hours later? Neuroscientists found gratitude strengthens the prefrontal cortex, your brain's steering wheel for positive thoughts. Each thank you makes it easier to spot hope in hard situations. Take Leo, a veteran with PTSD. His therapist had him text 1 daily appreciation: sunlight on my pillow, neighbor waved. After 3 months, brain scans showed reduced activity in fear centers. His nightmares halved. This mental shift ripples through your body. People practicing daily gratitude exercises averaged 12% lower blood pressure. Why? Appreciation triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, your biological brake pedal against stress hormones. Picture Priya, a lawyer with insomnia. She started voicing thanks aloud during her commute, green traffic light, radio song I like. Within weeks, her resting heart rate slowed by 9 beats per minute. She now sleeps through the night without medication. What happens when you consistently notice small joys? Your brain builds new pathways, like forming a trail through dense woods by walking it daily. Negative thinking weakens. Positivity becomes automatic. Researchers call this experience-dependent neuroplasticity. But you needn't remember the term, just the effect. When did you last pause to appreciate something mundane, and how might doing so change your next hour? Consider relationships. Thanking others activates mirror neurons, cells that help us sync emotionally. When you tell a barista, "Your smile made my morning," their brain registers it as physical warmth. Studies show grateful people have 31% stronger social bonds. After Ken started emailing colleagues 1 specific praise weekly, "Your report saved me hours," his team's conflict dropped 40%. Yet our brains naturally fixate on threats, a leftover survival instinct. Gratitude is the deliberate counterweight. What single sentence of thanks could you share today that might alter someone's perspective? The key is repetition, not magnitude. Neurologist Oliver Sacks, facing terminal cancer, wrote of finding absurd little joys in morphine-induced dreams. His final essays reveal how this practice sustained wonder amid pain. Like Rosa's dishes, any moment can spark change if revisited often. Next, we'll explore tiny, sustainable habits that anchor this science in daily life, proving you needn't overhaul routines to reap rewards. Part 4. Small steps, big shifts. How can tiny actions create lasting change in how you experience life? This section explores simple, practical methods to weave gratitude into your daily rhythm without disrupting your routine. You'll discover how writing brief notes, sharing quick thanks, or pausing for quiet reflection can gradually rewire your perspective. Through relatable stories, we'll see how ordinary people built extraordinary resilience and joy through small, consistent efforts. These approaches require no special tools or extra time, just a willingness to start small and trust the process. Consider gratitude as a daily vitamin for your mindset. Just as vitamins work cumulatively to strengthen your body, small gratitude practices build mental resilience over time. Leo, a taxi driver, began spending 2 minutes each morning listing 3 things he looked forward to: his daughter's smile, the smell of rain, or a favorite song on the radio. At first, it felt forced, but within weeks, he noticed himself anticipating good moments instead of dreading traffic. His journal entries became spontaneous mental notes. A passenger thanked me for the smooth ride, or the sunset turned buildings gold. When did you last pause to appreciate something you typically rush through? Reaching out with thanks magnifies this effect. Maya, a bookstore clerk, started sending one-sentence appreciations via text each Friday. "Your advice about that novel was perfect. Still thinking about it," to a coworker. "Thanks for making tea this morning," to her roommate. One message took 15 seconds, but recipients often replied with warmth that lifted her entire day. When Maya faced a difficult move, those she'd thanked showed up to help without being asked. Research confirms such expressions strengthen relationships while boosting the giver's mood. Who made your life easier this week in a way that went unacknowledged? Daily intentions act as gentle guideposts. Sam, a retired engineer, began whispering, "Notice one good thing," while brewing his morning coffee. This simple mantra transformed mundane moments. Spotting cardinals at the bird feeder, recalling his granddaughter's laugh, or appreciating pain-free movement. During a hospital stay, this habit helped him focus on kind nurses rather than discomfort. Common obstacles? Forgetting or feeling insincere. Tie gratitude to existing habits. Note 3 positives while waiting for coffee, or thank someone during your commute. If you miss a day, simply continue. Perfection isn't required. Brené Brown's work shows self-compassion matters more than flawless execution. Leo sometimes wrote just one journal entry weekly, yet still felt calmer. Maya set phone reminders until thank you texts became automatic. These small steps compound like interest. After 6 months, Leo's journal revealed patterns. He valued connection most, leading him to host monthly dinners. Maya's workplace culture grew noticeably warmer. Sam's family remarked on his increased patience. None made sweeping changes. They simply planted seeds of awareness that bloomed naturally. What micro moment of appreciation could you practice right now? Start where you are. Keep a notebook by your bed for nightly reflections. Text one thank you today. Silently acknowledge a pleasant sensation. Warm water on your hands, birdsong, a comfortable chair. The size of the action matters less than the consistency. As Janice Kaplan discovered in her year-long gratitude experiment, transformation sneaks up quietly through repeated small acts. Today's brief pause becomes tomorrow's resilient perspective. Chapter 2. Gratitude in Action. Part 1. The Power of Saying Thank You. Consider the profound effect of 2 simple words, thank you. They can mend strained bonds, uplift weary spirits, and spark unexpected kindness. This section reveals how genuine appreciation transforms everyday interactions into meaningful connections. You'll discover practical ways to express gratitude through words and actions, learn why sincerity matters more than grand gestures, and see how overcoming hesitation leads to deeper trust. Real stories show ordinary people creating extraordinary change, one heartfelt acknowledgement at a time. Leo felt overlooked at work until he thanked his teammate Priya for catching a critical error. His specific praise, "Your attention to detail saved us hours of rework," shifted their dynamic. Priya began volunteering ideas more freely, and Leo noticed others mirroring his appreciation. Research shows gratitude activates brain regions linked to social connection, making both giver and receiver feel valued. What small act from a colleague have you forgotten to acknowledge? Clara struggled to express thanks to her aging father. After writing him a note describing how his quiet support during her divorce helped her heal, he framed it. "I never knew you noticed," he said. Written thanks carry weight because they're tangible proof of care. A grocery list scribble, a sticky note, or a formal letter all work. Yet many avoid it, fearing awkwardness. Try this. Start low stakes. "Thanks for watering my plants," before tackling deeper emotions. Ben saw his bakery's morale plummet during a supply shortage. He began thanking staff individually each Friday, naming specific efforts, like Elena staying late to decorate cakes. Within weeks, workers collaborated better and even thanked customers more. This ripple effect is documented. Gratitude spreads because recipients often pay it forward. One study found thanked employees were 50% more helpful to others later. Expressing thanks requires vulnerability. Maya hesitated to thank her neighbor Sam for years of free dog walking until she blurted it out during a storm. Sam teared up. "I thought you saw it as my duty." Maya realized withholding appreciation denies others the joy of being seen. Practical steps for meaningful thanks. Be immediate. Thank within 24 hours when possible. Name specifics. Thank you for listening without judgment yesterday beats a generic compliment. Match the medium. Quick texts for small favors, handwritten notes for emotional moments. Embrace discomfort. If voicing thanks feels hard, say so. This feels awkward, but I need to thank you for. When Leo started thanking his bus driver daily, other passengers joined in. The driver began announcing stops cheerfully, transforming the commute. Gratitude reshapes environments by spotlighting overlooked contributions. Who in your life performs invisible labor? Next, we'll explore how daily journaling trains your mind to spot these opportunities naturally, turning gratitude from an act into a habit. Part 2. Keeping a daily gratitude journal. Think of gratitude as a muscle. Just as regular exercise strengthens your body, daily journaling trains your mind to spot goodness you might otherwise miss. This simple habit shifts your focus, helping you see more light even on cloudy days. Research consistently shows people who keep a gratitude journal report feeling happier, sleeping better, and handling stress more easily. It's not about ignoring problems. It's about balancing your perspective by acknowledging what's working. By making this a daily ritual, you build resilience and open yourself to more joy. Let's explore how to make this practice work for you, even when life feels hectic or repetitive. Start small. Aim for just 1 or 2 minutes each day. Choose a time that fits naturally into your routine, perhaps with your morning coffee, during lunch, or before bed. Rita, a nurse working night shifts, found it impossible to journal consistently until she linked it to her drive home. While stopped at a red light near her house, she recalls one thing from her shift she felt thankful for. It changed my commute from draining to grounding, she shared. You don't need a fancy notebook. Use your phone notes, a sticky pad, or even voice memos. The key is consistency over perfection. What small daily moment could you anchor your practice to? Many people worry about repetition. I just write my family every day, sighed Ben, a teacher. This is common. Instead of broad categories, dig for specific moments. Sunlight catching the steam rising from my tea, or Lena laughing when I tripped over my own feet. It made my stumble feel funny, not embarrassing. Notice sensory details, a smell, sound, or texture. On tough days, gratitude isn't about ignoring pain. It might look like, thankful the pharmacist explained the new medication clearly when I felt overwhelmed. What tiny, specific moment brought you comfort or connection today? Research by experts like Robert Emmons shows this practice physically rewires the brain over time. People who journal gratitude daily for 3 weeks often start automatically scanning their environment for positives, a mental habit called the gratitude lens. Maya, who started journaling after a difficult breakup, noticed this shift. At first, I struggled to find 3 things. After a month, I'd catch myself thinking, this sunset is incredible. I need to write that down later. The world felt richer. Studies note improved sleep, as writing down positives can quiet anxious evening thoughts. How might noticing small positives change your daily experience? Obstacles happen. Forgetting is normal. Keep your journal visible by your toothbrush, coffee maker, or pillow. If you miss a day, just write 3 things the next morning. Feeling uninspired? Try prompts. What made me smile today? What skill did I use that I'm proud of? Who showed me kindness, however small? Brené Brown emphasizes gratitude's role in embracing imperfection. Your journal entries don't need to be profound. Poet Ross Gay finds wonder in the mundane, like shared laughter with a stranger. Can you recall a simple, unexpected moment that lifted your spirits recently? The true power emerges over months. Janice Kaplan documented her year of living gratefully, finding profound shifts in her relationships and outlook. It becomes less about the list and more about a fundamental shift in attention. Kofi, who began journaling during unemployment, said, "Writing had a warm meal, felt hollow at first. But weeks in, I genuinely felt thankful for it. That mindset helped me persist in my job search." This practice builds a reservoir of positive memories you can draw from during hard times. By consciously noting good moments, you train your brain to believe more good exists. What one small thing are you taking for granted right now that you could pause to appreciate? Part 3. Turning setbacks into lessons. Life rarely follows a straight path. Unexpected hurdles, job losses, health scares, relationship strains can shake our foundations. Yet within these trials lies a hidden opportunity, the chance to grow stronger through gratitude. This part explores how viewing setbacks as teachers rather than tormentors transforms pain into wisdom. You'll discover practical ways to spot silver linings in storm clouds, turning resentment into resilience. By reframing adversity, we uncover lessons that propel us forward with renewed appreciation for life's complexities. Consider Matteo, a chef whose restaurant closed unexpectedly. For weeks, he felt defeated. Then he asked himself, what skills did this experience give me? He realized managing the business taught him budgeting, leadership, and menu innovation, skills he now uses as a culinary instructor. His income dipped initially, but he gained flexible hours for family time. What seemed like an ending became a doorway to reinvention. Research confirms that gratitude during hardship builds emotional resilience. One effective strategy is the lesson lens. When facing disappointment, pause and ask, what could this situation teach me? Jot down 3 potential insights. For example, a delayed promotion might reveal areas for skill development or highlight undervalued strengths. This shifts focus from what's missing to what's possible. Elena's story illustrates this. After a car accident left her with chronic pain, anger consumed her. Then she began noting small victories, physical therapy milestones, supportive friends, even enjoying audiobooks during recovery. Her gratitude journal, from our last section, became a tool for reframing. I wrote thankful for legs that move instead of angry about the limp. Over time, she noticed her pain felt less consuming when she acknowledged her progress. How might your current challenge contain a lesson you haven't noticed yet? Another approach is the future self exercise. Imagine yourself 5 years from now looking back at this setback. Write a letter detailing how it helped you grow. A study found participants who did this reported 23% less distress. Take Arjun, who failed a crucial exam. His future self letter read, "Failing forced you to seek mentorship. Now you're a better engineer because you learned to ask for help." This hindsight preview reveals hidden benefits. Practical steps to try today. 1. Spot the gain in the pain. Identify one way your setback has made you wiser or stronger. 2. Thank your past self. Acknowledge a past difficulty that ultimately served you. 3. Share the lesson. Tell someone what you've learned. It reinforces the insight. Gratitude in hardship isn't about ignoring pain. It's about refusing to let pain ignore your growth. As we'll explore next, sharing these hard-won appreciations deepens connections. Part 4. Sharing thanks with others. Gratitude grows when shared. After learning to appreciate life's lessons, even in hardship, we now turn outward. Expressing thanks to others multiplies its power. It strengthens bonds, builds trust, and creates ripples of kindness. In this section, we explore simple ways to share gratitude in every part of life. You'll see how appreciation transforms relationships and communities. Real stories show people making gratitude a shared habit and the joy it brings. Discover how your expressions of thanks can light up not just your day, but the lives of those around you. Consider your own relationships. When was the last time you thanked someone for their steady presence rather than a specific favor? Sharing appreciation isn't about grand gestures. At work, Lena started thanking her colleague Ben for his calm attitude during stressful projects. She wrote 3 sentences in a sticky note. "I notice how you stay focused when deadlines tighten. It helps me breathe easier. Thank you." Within weeks, their team began acknowledging small efforts daily. Meetings felt lighter and collaboration improved. What quiet strength could you acknowledge in your workplace today? Families thrive when gratitude becomes routine. After arguments about chores, Mark's family began sharing thankful moments during dinner. His daughter Zoe thanked her brother for sharing headphones. His wife appreciated Zoe's help feeding their pet. These brief exchanges reduced tension and created warmth. Research shows families practicing gratitude report stronger connections and less frustration. Could your family try this tonight? Start small. Thank someone for passing the salt or making coffee. Notice how it shifts the mood. Communities transform through shared appreciation. A neighborhood book club struggled with attendance until members began meetings by sharing one thing they valued about the group. "I'm thankful for new perspectives," said Priya. "I love laughing together," added Carlos. Attendance doubled. Similarly, retirement home staff left blank gratitude cards in common areas. Residents wrote messages like, "Thanks to Leo for watering the garden. It makes my walks beautiful." Loneliness decreased as people felt seen. What group could you uplift with shared thanks? Written gratitude carries unique power. Oliver Sacks described writing letters to friends during his final illness, calling it an unexpected source of joy. Studies confirm that handwritten notes strengthen relationships more than texts. Try this. Write 2 sentences to someone who impacted you. When you specific action, it helped me, specific outcome. Thank you. Mail it unexpectedly. One teacher received such a note from a former student and framed it. Years later, she still shares how it renewed her passion for teaching. Who might treasure your words? Small kindnesses anchor gratitude in action. Bring tea to a coworker without mentioning why. Leave a flower on a neighbor's step with a note. Saw your beautiful roses. These unspoken thanks create connection. Janice Kaplan describes how her year of gratitude practice changed relationships. Simple acts like baking muffins for her mechanic made interactions more human. What unnoticed person could you appreciate today? Before shared gratitude, workplaces often feel transactional, families disconnected, communities isolated. After, teams collaborate better, homes feel warmer, neighborhoods become support networks. The shift starts when one person expresses genuine thanks. Try a gratitude circle. Gather any group. Each shares one appreciation for another person present. Ivan, I'm grateful you organized our supplies this week. Witness how energy lifts. Your words might spark a chain reaction where everyone feels valued. How might your community change if you started this today? Chapter 3. When Life Gets Messy. Part 1. Gratitude on the Hard Days. Life gets messy, and finding gratitude during tough times feels like trying to spot stars through storm clouds. When bills pile up, relationships strain, or health falters, thankfulness seems impossible. Yet research shows that even small acts of appreciation during hardship can rewire our brains for resilience. This section shares practical ways to notice light in darkness, without pretending pain doesn't exist. You'll learn simple tools to steady yourself when overwhelmed, turning gratitude from a distant ideal into an accessible anchor. Consider Ben, a nurse whose shift ended with news of his mother's cancer diagnosis. Driving home in rain, his mind raced with fear. Then he noticed streetlights reflecting in puddles, sudden shimmering patterns. For 10 seconds, he focused only on that unexpected beauty. This micro moment of gratitude, as psychologist Robert Emmons calls it, didn't erase his pain, but created space to breathe. Studies reveal such pauses lower stress hormones, creating mental clarity. What tiny, ordinary detail could you notice right now when feeling swamped? Hard days distort our perspective, making us forget past joys or current comforts. Janice Kaplan's gratitude journal experiments found that listing 3 small wins daily, even "my tea stayed hot," builds emotional buoyancy. When Rosa lost her job, she wrote 1 thankful sentence each morning. "My cat purred," or "the sun hit my plants perfectly." Over weeks, this reframed her outlook, helping her spot opportunities she'd missed. It was like training weak muscles, she said. Start with physical sensations. The weight of a blanket, cool water on your throat. These bodily anchors ground us when thoughts spiral. Reaching out is another powerful tool. After his divorce, Miguel felt isolated until he texted one friend, "Grateful for your laugh." His friend called immediately, sparking a walk-and-talk habit. Brené Brown's research confirms connection transforms suffering, not by fixing problems, but by validating our humanity. If sharing feels hard, borrow gratitude. Notice someone's kindness to a stranger, or admire nature's persistence like Oliver Sacks did watching garden birds during illness. Whose unseen effort made your day slightly easier? Pain and gratitude coexist. Christy Nelson calls this standing in the storm with open eyes. When Anya's chronic pain flares, she softly names comforts aloud. Pillows. Quiet. That nurse's gentle hands. Neuroscientists find this verbal acknowledgement activates calm in the brain's threat response system. It's not about ignoring grief. It's about refusing to let darkness erase all light. As Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama observed in the Book of Joy, sorrow carves deeper channels for joy to flow through later. Tomorrow's section explores how gratitude helps us accept imperfections. But today, practice gratitude first aid. Breathe deeply twice, then identify. One object that supports you, chair shoes, one person who's shown care even long ago, one ability you still have, seeing, breathing, remembering. These take 30 seconds yet shift focus from scarcity to possibility. Resilience grows not by avoiding falls, but by noticing what cushions them. Part 2. Learning from imperfection. Life rarely goes as planned. We trip up, fall short, and leave things undone. But what if these messy moments held hidden gifts? This section explores how gratitude helps us accept flaws and mistakes as natural parts of growth. You'll discover how to transform self-criticism into self-compassion through simple practices. Real stories show how people found strength in imperfection, and you'll learn exercises to reframe setbacks as teachers. By the end, you'll have tools to appreciate your unfinished journey, not as failure, but as progress in motion. Consider Priya, a baker whose cake collapsed before a client event. Instead of spiraling into shame, she paused. "What can I learn here?" she asked herself. She realized she'd rushed the recipe. That evening, she wrote in her journal, "Grateful my cake failed early. Now I know to double-check measurements." Within weeks, her precision improved. Her business grew because she saw mistakes as feedback, not defeat. This shift, from perfectionism to progress, starts with one question. What did this experience reveal that I couldn't have learned otherwise? We often treat imperfections like enemies. Leo, a retired teacher, berated himself for forgetting names during volunteer work. His frustration grew until he tried a simple exercise. Each night, he noted one flaw and reframed it kindly. "Forgot a name today" became "Grateful my mind prioritizes listening over memorizing." Slowly, he accepted his aging memory without judgment. Studies show this practice rewires our brains to focus less on lack and more on growth. What personal flaw could you reinterpret as a unique strength? Unfinished projects also teach us. May started 3 novels she never completed. For years, she called herself a quitter. Then she listed what those attempts gave her: improved discipline, richer vocabulary, and 5 new writer friends. Her gratitude journal entry read, "Thank you, unfinished stories, for showing me I love creating characters most." Now she writes character studies for local theaters, a path she'd never have found without those failures. Where in your life could unfinished efforts reveal unexpected doors? Try this exercise today. When you notice self-criticism rising, pause. Place a hand over your heart and whisper, "This is part of being human." Then ask, "What's one thing this moment teaches me?" Jot it down with the phrase, "I'm grateful this showed me." For example, "I'm grateful this missed deadline showed me I need clearer project boundaries." Doing this daily builds neural pathways that turn shame into curiosity. Cultural traditions worldwide honor imperfection. Consider pottery repaired with gold, a metaphor for how our cracks become sources of beauty. Or folk tales where heroes triumph through clumsy mistakes, not flawless skill. These stories remind us, growth needs friction. Your struggles aren't signs of brokenness, but proof you're evolving. What outdated story about perfection could you release to make space for self-kindness? As we close, remember Priya's lopsided cakes and May's half-finished manuscripts. Their gratitude wasn't about ignoring flaws, but seeing beyond them. By thanking our stumbles, we stop fighting ourselves and start growing. Soon we'll explore how this acceptance prepares us to release heavier burdens, grudges, expectations, and the exhausting chase for control. For now, breathe. Your journey is enough exactly as it is today. Part 3. The gift of letting go. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack full of rocks everywhere you go. Some rocks are old arguments you replay in your mind. Others are dreams that didn't work out just as you hoped. A few might be worries about tomorrow's meeting. Every step feels heavier than it needs to be. What if you could set down that load? Not by quitting on what matters, but by freeing yourself from what drains your joy. This section shows how releasing grudges, expectations, and the need for control opens space for genuine thankfulness. You'll discover practical ways to lighten your emotional load and find peace right where you are. After learning to appreciate our imperfect selves, we often face a tougher challenge: releasing what no longer helps us. Think of Eva, a nurse who couldn't forgive a colleague for a past mistake. Every shift felt tense. She replayed the incident constantly. Then one Tuesday, after months of bitterness, she paused. "Why am I letting this steal my energy?" she wondered. Eva decided to mentally release the grudge. She didn't excuse the action, She simply chose not to carry the anger anymore. Within weeks, she noticed something surprising. She felt grateful for small teamwork moments she'd previously ignored. Holding on to control often backfires. Kenji ran a small bakery and obsessed over every detail. Oven temperatures, display layouts, even how customers arranged muffins in their boxes. His anxiety left little room for creativity or connection. After reading about acceptance practices, he experimented with letting go of minor outcomes. When a supplier delivered the wrong flour, Kenji took a breath instead of panicking. He adapted the recipe, creating a new bestseller by accident. My need for control was blocking opportunities, he realized. What small thing are you clinging to that might be limiting your growth? Forgiveness is less about others and more about freeing yourself. Research shows that releasing resentment lowers stress hormones and improves sleep. Take Marco, who felt betrayed when a friend forgot his birthday. He wrote a letter detailing his hurt, then tore it up. This simple act helped him move forward. He later felt thankful for other friendships that had deepened during that tough time. Here's how to start releasing burdens. 1. Name what weighs you down. Is it an old resentment? A rigid plan? Write it plainly. I'm holding on to. 2. Ask one question. How does this serve me now? If the answer is it doesn't, gently acknowledge that truth. Create a release ritual. Whisper, I let this go. Visualize placing it in a stream, or try a physical gesture like opening your hands wide. 4. Fill the space. Notice one thing you appreciate immediately after. The taste of coffee, sunlight on walls, silence. Ava held on to guilt about her mother's illness, thinking constant worry proved her love. But her exhaustion made caregiving harder. When she allowed herself moments of rest without self-blame, she found unexpected gratitude. I felt thankful for our laughter during afternoon tea, not just the sadness. Letting go isn't loss, it's making room. Like clearing a cluttered shelf, you create space for what deserves your attention now. What might you gain by releasing just one small expectation today? Part 4. Finding joy in unexpected places. Life rarely follows a script. When plans unravel and chaos reigns, we often brace for disappointment. Yet within those messy, unplanned moments, a delayed train, a spilled coffee, a sudden downpour, small sparks of joy often hide. This section reveals how to spot these unexpected gifts. You'll learn to tune into fleeting moments of humor, kindness, or beauty that arise amid disorder, transforming frustration into gratitude. These practices don't require extra time, just a shift in attention. By the end, you'll have simple tools to find light even when the path seems dark. Consider Leo, a paramedic whose nights often involve high-stress emergencies. One rainy evening, exhausted after a tough call, he slipped in a parking lot. Soaked and embarrassed, he noticed 2 toddlers nearby laughing as they jumped in the same puddle. Their pure delight made him chuckle, shifting his mood instantly. That night, Leo wrote in his journal, "Grateful for kids who turned my stumble into joy." What ordinary mishap in your life could become a source of laughter if viewed differently? Many of us overlook these moments because we're focused on what's lacking. Maria, a single parent, dreaded her hour-long bus commute. She saw it as stolen time, until she began observing her fellow passengers. One morning, an elderly man boarded with a parrot on his shoulder, cheerfully sharing stories. Maria started noticing these quirky interactions daily. A teen sketching portraits for strangers, a driver playing harmonica during traffic jams. Her commute transformed from draining to fascinating. She now carries a small notebook to jot down one unexpected wonder per trip. How might your least favorite routine surprise you? Research confirms that training ourselves to spot these instances rewires our brains. People who regularly note surprising positives, like a stranger's smile during a stressful day, report higher resilience during hardships. Try this. For 3 days, pause each evening to recall one unplanned moment that sparked warmth or amusement. Did a burnt dinner lead to hilarious takeout with family? Did a lost wallet result in meeting a helpful neighbor? These reflections anchor gratitude in reality, not fantasy. Humor often arrives unannounced in tense situations. When Ben's team missed a crucial deadline, their meeting room buzzed with frustration. Suddenly, a projector screen collapsed loudly. Instead of anger, the absurdity made everyone laugh, easing the tension. They regrouped over coffee, solving the problem collaboratively. Ben later realized that malfunction reminded us we're human. Where has accidental comedy recently lightened your load? Practical steps help cultivate this mindset. First, pause during disruptions. When plans change, take 3 breaths and ask, what's interesting here? Second, seek micro-kindness. Notice small gestures, a barista remembering your order, a dog wagging its tail at you. Finally, reframe irritations. Traffic jam? Appreciate the chance to hear a favorite song. As one teacher observed, her students taught her to find awe in spilled glitter. It meant they were creating. What seems inconvenient today might become tomorrow's fond memory. By welcoming life's detours, we discover joy isn't reserved for milestones. It's woven into the fabric of the everyday. This openness prepares us to find gratitude even amid deeper struggles. Chapter 4. Living a Thank You Life. Part 1. Building Your Own Rituals. Building personal gratitude rituals can transform fleeting moments of appreciation into steady sources of strength. Think of these rituals as invisible threads weaving thankfulness into your daily fabric. They don't require grand gestures, just consistent, intentional moments that fit your rhythm. This section guides you in crafting practices that resonate with your life, turning gratitude from an occasional guest into a constant companion. You'll discover how small, repeated acts of thanks create lasting emotional resilience and joy, tailored to your unique circumstances. Consider Leo, a graphic designer who felt constantly overwhelmed. He started sitting with his morning coffee for 3 minutes, mentally listing things he appreciated, the steam rising from his mug, the quiet before emails flooded in. Within weeks, this tiny ritual shifted his entire workday perspective. The key was consistency, not duration. What small daily moment could you dedicate to noticing good things? Family rituals offer powerful shared gratitude. Take Priya and her children who began Rosebud Thorn sharing during dinner. Each names one positive moment, Rose, one growth opportunity, Bud, and one challenge, Thorn. This simple structure created space for natural gratitude without pressure. Their conversations became more meaningful, and appreciation spilled into ordinary interactions. How might your loved ones respond to a shared thankfulness practice? Evening rituals help process the day. After stressful hospital shifts, Nurse Ben walks through his neighborhood park. As he passes familiar trees and benches, he silently thanks 3 specific moments from his shift: a patient's smile, a helpful colleague, his own resilience. This intentional reflection helps him release tension. Physical movement combined with gratitude creates a potent reset. What daily transition could become your gratitude anchor? Challenges will arise. When Rosa missed her journaling ritual during travel, she initially felt defeated. Then she adapted, using voice memos on her phone while commuting. Flexibility prevents all-or-nothing thinking. If your ritual feels stale, change the format or timing. The goal isn't perfection, but returning to intention. When life disrupts your practice, how might you creatively adapt? Start small. Choose one existing habit, brushing teeth, waiting for coffee, or bedtime, and attach 10 seconds of gratitude. Notice how this micro-practice grows naturally. Rituals work because repetition rewires our attention. We start spotting goodness we previously overlooked. Within months, Ben began noticing kindnesses during his shifts instead of just recalling them later. This automatic positivity is the ritual's true gift. These personal practices create foundations for wider gratitude, naturally leading us to share appreciation with others. As your ritual becomes second nature, you'll find thankfulness spilling into interactions, ready to uplift those around you. Part 2. Spreading gratitude in your circle. Consider how your personal gratitude practice, now a steady habit, can enrich the lives around you. When thankfulness moves beyond private reflection, it becomes a powerful force that strengthens connections and lifts entire groups. This section shares practical ways to create cultures of appreciation in your family, friendships, workplace, and neighborhood. You'll discover simple tools like shared gratitude jars and community thank you projects that transform relationships. These approaches build trust, inspire collaboration, and help everyone feel valued. Ready to become a gratitude ambassador? Let's explore how you can start this positive shift today. Think about your own circle. What happens when appreciation becomes a shared language? Take the Patel family. After dinner each Thursday, they pass a small notebook around the table. Each person writes one thing they appreciate about another family member. Young Arav might thank his sister for helping with homework, while Mrs. Patel notes her husband's patience during a hectic week. This 5-minute ritual replaced arguments about chores with warmth. Within months, they noticed their children started thanking teachers and friends more often. Could a simple practice like this shift your family's daily mood? Workplaces thrive when gratitude flows openly. Elena, a nurse manager, noticed her team felt overwhelmed. She started Friday shoutouts, a whiteboard where staff could write brief thank yous. One note read, "Jamal, thanks for covering my shift when my kid got sick." Another said, "Maria, your calmness during the code blue helped us all." At first, just 3 people participated, but as others saw genuine compliments appearing, the board filled weekly. Staff surveys showed a 30% drop in stress complaints within 6 months. How might public recognition change your team's energy? Communities transform through collective gratitude. Leo, a retired teacher, organized thank you walks in his neighborhood. Every Sunday, groups delivered handwritten notes to local workers, firefighters, grocery clerks, librarians. One recipient, a mail carrier named Fiona, said, "I kept that card in my truck for months. Bad weather days felt different after that." The project expanded. Kids made art for nursing homes, and volunteers planted flowers at the police station. When Leo fell ill, neighbors cooked meals for him without being asked, a natural return of kindness. Where could your community use a visible dose of appreciation? Start small, but keep it visible. A gratitude jar costs nothing. Decorate a container, place it where others will see it, and add slips of paper whenever someone does something kind. Read them aloud weekly. Or try the 2-minute thank you. Set phone reminders to send one genuine appreciation text daily. "Ben, your presentation slides made my report stronger. Thanks. Costs nothing but builds trust." If leading a team, begin meetings with quick kudos. First, let's share one thing we're grateful for about each other's work this week. What easy first step fits your life right now? Notice how these shared practices create safety nets. Friends who regularly express thankfulness navigate conflicts better. They've built reserves of goodwill. Work teams focusing on strengths rather than flaws solve problems faster. Neighborhoods practicing collective gratitude see higher volunteer rates. Your personal ritual started this chain. Now your actions teach others to spot goodness too. As we'll see next, this foundation prepares you to create waves of kindness that extend far beyond your immediate circle. Part 3. The ripple effect of kindness. Consider a single act of thanks, a smile to a stranger, a handwritten note, help carrying groceries. These moments seem small, yet they travel far beyond that initial exchange. Research confirms that kindness spreads like ripples in water. When someone experiences gratitude, they're 25% more likely to extend generosity to others, often within hours. This chain reaction can touch dozens of lives from one gesture. Your simple thank you holds this quiet power. We'll explore real stories showing how ordinary people ignited extraordinary waves of goodwill. You'll learn practical ways to start your own ripples and see how they foster hope in communities. Take Ben, a bus driver in Toronto. One rainy Monday, a passenger named Fiona thanked him for always waiting when she ran late. Inspired, Ben started greeting every rider by name. Within weeks, passengers began chatting with each other instead of staring at phones. One man, Leo, overheard a nurse discussing meal shortages at her shelter. He organized his building to donate surplus food. Fiona's 2 words of thanks ultimately fed 200 people. Why does this happen? Kindness activates what scientists call moral elevation. Witnessing goodness sparks our own desire to help. It's why paying for the next person's coffee often starts a chain at drive-thrus. Think of it as emotional contagion. Positivity spreads faster than criticism. Now picture your workplace. Maya, an accountant, felt her team was disconnected. She began leaving sticky notes on desks highlighting small wins. "Thanks, Carlos, for fixing the printer chaos." Within a month, colleagues started a gratitude wall where anyone could post appreciations. Productivity rose 18% because people felt seen. What's one thing your team overlooks that deserves recognition? Barriers exist, of course. We sometimes think my tiny act won't matter, but studies tracking kindness find that 73% of recipients pay it forward, usually within the same day. Even brief interactions count, like thanking delivery workers. A UPS driver, Jamal, reported how a resident's cold water bottle on a hot shift motivated him to rescue a stranded cyclist later. To create ripples. 1. Start specific. Instead of "good job," try "your detailed budget report saved us hours." 2. Go beyond your circle. Compliment a barista's efficiency or a neighbor's garden. 3. Notice reactions. When Elena thanked her daughter's soccer coach, he started mentoring struggling kids. A hospital in Oslo saw this firsthand. Nurses began sharing gratitude moments in shift handovers. Small acknowledgments like, "Dr. Singh stayed late to calm a scared patient." Soon, patients joined in, leaving thank you drawings at reception. Volunteer applications increased by 40%. This isn't about grand gestures. It's choosing to see abundance, the idea that there's enough kindness to share. When you focus on what's given rather than what's lacking, hope multiplies. How might thanking a teacher today shape a child's behavior tomorrow? Every society faces fractures, yet gratitude builds invisible bridges. That email thanking a colleague could inspire them to donate blood. Your wave to a postal worker might rekindle their faith in community during a hard week. The math is simple. One act, unseen multipliers, equals collective change. What pebble of thanks will you drop into the world now? Part 4. Looking back, moving forward. Think back to when you first considered gratitude as more than a polite thank you. Perhaps it felt unfamiliar, like using a muscle you didn't know you had. Now standing here, you've likely gathered moments, some bright, some challenging, where choosing thankfulness shifted your perspective. This part of your journey isn't about reaching a finish line. It's about recognizing how far you've come and deciding where gratitude fits next. By thoughtfully reviewing your path and planning ahead, you strengthen this practice into a lasting part of your life. What small change have you noticed in yourself since you began? Consider Leo, who started noting one thing he appreciated each evening. At first, it felt forced. "I'm grateful my coffee was hot." But 6 months later, during a stressful job change, he found himself instinctively focusing on the colleague who offered support, not just the uncertainty. That shift didn't erase the difficulty, but it anchored him. Leo's story shows how consistent, simple actions rewire our focus over time. Progress often hides in these subtle turns. Mistakes happen. Sam felt guilty when she skipped her gratitude journal for weeks after her father's illness. But research shows self-compassion is key. Instead of scolding herself, Sam gently restarted by simply whispering thanks for her morning tea. Forgiving these pauses lets you begin again without shame. How would treating yourself kindly after a setback change your next step? Setting intentions makes gratitude proactive. Picture Maya. After a year of daily reflections, she asked, "What now?" She chose 2 intentions, thanking one person face-to-face weekly and pausing to appreciate nature during walks. These weren't rigid rules, but flexible guides, adapting when her schedule shifted. Intentions work best when they fit your rhythm, specific, manageable, and meaningful to you. Celebration matters too. Noticing growth fuels motivation. Leo realized he'd stopped obsessing over minor frustrations. Maya celebrated when her son started his own gratitude jar. These milestones, big or small, deserve recognition. They prove the effort counts. What tiny victory in your practice could you acknowledge today? Looking forward, blend realism with hope. Life brings storms. A missed promotion, a strained friendship. Yet studies find that during hardship, gratitude acts like an anchor, reducing stress by 23%. It doesn't ignore pain, but balances it with awareness of what remains. Your future practice might include new rituals, a monthly reflection, sharing gratitudes at family dinners, or volunteering. The goal isn't perfection, it's continuing. As you move forward, carry this truth. Gratitude grows strongest when rooted in both memory and intention. Your journey, with its stumbles and steps, has prepared you for what's next. What intention will you set to carry thankfulness into your tomorrow? Chapter 5, Everyday Magic, Part 1. Noticing the little things. Our lives move quickly, filled with big tasks and constant noise. Yet the quiet moments, a warm cup in your hands, sunlight through leaves, a child's giggle, hold surprising power. This section explores how training yourself to spot these tiny treasures builds lasting gratitude. You'll learn simple methods to slow down and see what you've been missing, turning ordinary days into richer experiences. The benefits are real. Studies show noticing small positives rewires your brain toward happiness. Let's discover how paying attention changes everything. Think about Leo, a nurse whose shifts felt exhausting. He started pausing for 10 seconds whenever he washed his hands. Instead of rushing, he'd notice the soap's scent, the water's temperature, or a colleague's smile across the room. Within weeks, he felt calmer. "It's like finding pennies of joy all day," he said. Research confirms this. People who journal 3 small daily positives report better sleep and less stress. But why do we overlook them? Our brains evolved to spot threats, not blessings. A dripping tap annoys us more than birdsong delights us. How often do you walk past something beautiful without seeing it? Practice reshapes this. Try the 5 senses check. Twice daily, pause. Name one thing you see: steam rising from coffee; one you hear: distant train horn; one you touch: soft sweater; one you smell: rain on pavement; and one you taste: mint from toothpaste. This isn't complicated mindfulness, just waking up your awareness. Maya, a teacher, did this while waiting for her bus. She began spotting patterns in frost on windows or how strangers shared umbrellas. "I stopped dreading waits," she noted. "They became discovery times." Resisting busyness is key. When Priya's startup struggled, she saw only problems. Then she placed a bowl by her door. Every evening, she'd drop in a pebble representing one tiny good moment, like her cat's purr or a perfect avocado at lunch. On hard days, she'd hold a pebble, remembering that joy existed. This physical anchor helped. What object could remind you to pause? Small rituals build what scientists call attentional shift. By consciously looking for good, you train your mind to find it faster, like spotting friends in a crowd. Real transformation happens in the mundane. Consider Tom, who hated grocery trips. He started noticing textures: the cold weight of an apple, the rustle of paper bags. Soon he greeted the cashier by name and learned she painted landscapes. Their brief chats became highlights. Studies find such micro-connections reduce loneliness more than deep conversations. Before you dismiss routine tasks, ask, "What's one detail here I've never appreciated?" Record these moments briefly. Emmons' research shows writing 3 daily little things for a month increases optimism by 15%. Noticing isn't passive, it's actively collecting evidence that life is good. These practices prepare you for the next step, celebrating what you find. When you spot enough small wonders, honoring them comes naturally. A dew-covered spider web isn't just pretty, it's a win worth smiling at. Keep watching closely. Your ordinary world holds extraordinary gifts. Part 2. Celebrating small wins. Notice how the last section ended? You've gathered moments like dew on a spiderweb. Now what happens when you pause to honor them? Celebrating small wins transforms fleeting observations into stepping stones. This isn't about grand achievements, it's valuing the email sent, the walk taken, or the difficult conversation started. Research confirms that marking progress, however tiny, rewires our brains for resilience. One study found nurses who shared daily micro-wins reported 23% higher job satisfaction. Why? Each acknowledgement is proof you're moving forward. Consider Leo, a graphic designer overwhelmed by deadlines. He began noting small completions, finishing a sketch, replying to a client, by placing a pebble in a jar. Within weeks, the pebbles became visual proof of progress. His anxiety eased because he saw evidence of capability. Rituals like Leo's work because they convert abstract effort into tangible proof. What's one thing you did today that deserves a quiet high five? Then there's Priya, who felt parenting was a blur of chores. She started celebrating tiny victories, like her toddler trying broccoli, by dancing to a favorite song for 30 seconds. This victory dance shifted her focus from exhaustion to tiny triumphs. Studies show such rituals release dopamine, reinforcing motivation. The key is personalization, a deep breath, a sticky note on your mirror, or texting a friend. How might you honor your next small step? Common pitfalls? Waiting for big moments or dismissing efforts as not enough. Emmons' research reveals people who journal small wins for 3 weeks increase goal persistence by 19%. Start simple. Each evening, name one thing that went well. Clara, a retired teacher, whispers, "I did this," when she gardens, a phrase anchoring her to present achievement. Before her ritual, she fixated on undone tasks. Now she sees growth everywhere. These celebrations build momentum. Leo's pebble jar led to tackling complex projects. Priya's dances helped her notice her children's growth. Your turn. Tonight, reflect on a win you'd typically ignore. Write it on a scrap of paper and tuck it in your pocket. Feel its weight tomorrow. This act shifts your lens from lack to gain, creating readiness for life's next delightful surprise. Ready to play with gratitude? The adventure begins when celebration becomes curiosity. Part 3. Gratitude as a daily adventure. Gratitude becomes most powerful when it feels like discovering hidden treasures in plain sight. Instead of treating thankfulness as another box to check, approach it as an exciting daily quest. This shift transforms routine into wonder, helping you spot joy in unexpected places. We'll explore playful methods to turn appreciation into an adventure you'll look forward to. You'll learn how simple activities can rewire your perspective, making gratitude feel like exploring a vibrant city full of delightful surprises. These practical ideas will help you build lasting habits that make thankfulness feel effortless and rewarding. Consider Ben, who felt his gratitude journal had become dull. He started a gratitude scavenger hunt each morning, challenging himself to find 5 specific things before lunch. Something blue, a comforting sound, a helpful person, a pleasant smell, and something that made him smile. On Tuesday, he noticed his neighbor's hydrangeas, blue, his cat's purring, sound, the barista remembering his order, helpful person, fresh coffee, smell, and a toddler's giggle at the bus stop, smile. Within weeks, Ben found himself noticing beauty automatically. What ordinary detail around you right now might be worth appreciating if you looked closer? Themed gratitude days add structure to this exploration. Maya dedicates Wednesdays to thanking people who make her life easier. Last week, she left homemade cookies for her mail carrier with a note saying, "I appreciate how you always shield packages from rain." The carrier later told her it made his entire week. This small act cost Maya 20 minutes, but created ripples of goodwill. Try assigning themes to different days. Mondays for nature, Thursdays for technology that helps you, Saturdays for memories. Which person in your weekly routine deserves unexpected recognition? Surprise thank you notes magnify this effect. Research shows handwritten notes strengthen relationships more than digital messages. Take Aaron, who struggled with loneliness after moving cities. He began writing 1 postcard weekly to someone from his past, a teacher, old coworker, or childhood friend. One recipient, his former piano instructor, replied, "Your note arrived on the day I considered retiring. Now I'm teaching your niece." Aaron received 7 heartfelt responses within 2 months, building new connections. Keep blank cards in your bag. When gratitude strikes, write immediately. Who impacted your life years ago but doesn't know it? Treat gratitude experiments like joyful trials, not obligations. Lena turned hers into family adventures by creating a thanks jar. Each member drops in notes about moments they appreciated, a shared sunset, help with homework, or ripe strawberries at the market. On Sundays, they pull out 3 notes and celebrate them with matching activities. If someone thanked the park, they picnic there. Their 8-year-old now points out jar moments daily. Failures teach too. When Raj tried thanking strangers for a week, some ignored him, but the bus driver who teared up at his compliment made the rejections worthwhile. What playful experiment could you try for just 3 days? This adventurous mindset naturally leads to reflection. As you collect these experiences, patterns emerge about what truly matters to you. Next, we'll explore how to weave these discoveries into your unique gratitude story. Word count? 499. Part 4. Writing your own story of thanks. Your journey with gratitude isn't just about noticing moments. It's about weaving them into your personal story. This section guides you in crafting that narrative, turning scattered appreciations into a meaningful account of your life. You'll discover simple methods to reflect on your experiences, identify what truly matters, and express your thanks in ways that feel authentic. Whether through writing, speaking, or art, your story becomes a powerful tool to deepen your practice and encourage others. Let's explore how to transform your gratitude observations into a lasting testament of what makes your life uniquely rich. Consider Lena, who spent months jotting down small gratitudes in a notebook. Sunlight through her kitchen window, her neighbor's wave, finishing a work task early. At first, these entries felt disconnected. Then she tried a simple exercise. Each Sunday, she reread her notes and circled repeating themes. Within weeks, patterns emerged, a deep appreciation for quiet mornings, acts of kindness from others, and personal resilience. This helped her realize how much strength came from ordinary moments. What recurring threads might you find if you reviewed your last week of gratitudes? Stories gain power when shared. Take Ben, who felt awkward discussing gratitude until he framed it around specific moments. At family dinners, he started describing one thing that surprised him with joy that week, like his daughter's laugh during homework struggles. Soon others joined in. His brother admitted feeling thankful for a stranger who returned his lost wallet. This shifted conversations from complaints to connection. You don't need grand tales. Even a two-sentence observation can spark change. How might sharing one small appreciation alter a relationship this week? Creative expression anchors gratitude deeply. Maria struggled with journaling until she switched mediums. She began sketching simple symbols for daily thanks, a coffee cup for peaceful starts, a shoe for walks that cleared her mind. These drawings became a visual diary, helping her spot emotional patterns she'd missed in words. Others use voice notes, photo collages, or even garden planting as gratitude records. The key is choosing a format that feels natural, not forced. Which medium could turn your gratitude practice from a task into a joy? Challenges will arise. You might skip days or judge your entries as insignificant. Remember Amir, who quit journaling for a month after his job loss. He restarted by writing just one line about anything that didn't hurt: a warm blanket, a friend's text. Gradually, this list revealed hidden supports, helping him rebuild. Imperfect consistency beats perfect pauses. If you miss a week, simply begin again with today's sunrise or a meal that comforted you. Your story evolves. When Tessa compared her gratitude notes from 5 years ago, mostly about career wins, to today's focus on her toddler's messy discoveries, she saw how her values deepened. Revisiting past entries highlights growth you might otherwise overlook. Try this. Each season, read your oldest gratitude record and note what still resonates. What surprises you about past versions of yourself? By framing gratitude as your ongoing narrative, you transform fleeting moments into enduring wisdom. This practice solidifies insights, builds resilience during hardships, and quietly inspires those around you. Start small. Describe one gratitude aloud tonight, sketch 3 things you'd thank this week, or text a friend about a moment that mattered. Your story, however humble, is worth telling.